you to Rachel and Carl for sharing space. Can you hear me? A little bit up? No? Okay.
Closer.
Better?
Yeah.
All right. So I drove down from Portland expecting rain, and there was no rain, so it was a really beautiful drive. And I realized I have a number of poems about driving, so I'm going to read you a small one. How Poetry Works. Language kept its distance today. One enameled thought crossed 3 lanes, cut off a logging truck carrying lost napping snags. We merged, and the rolled down windows let in other stations. Inside, the children began and ended their brand new jokes. The dizzy luxury of chrome. At the bottom of the off-ramp, that thought long gone, a crow dropped a walnut at the cars, hoping in our distraction that we might help crack it open. And I was also thinking, I came down with the poet Scott Siegel, and who read here a few months ago, and all I needed to know about the news was the government still shut down? Yes, it is, but poetry does not shut down, and we all showed up, and so I'm so thankful for that, for this company. And this is the theory I'm conspiring to share. Love is truth. The heart is a muscle. Children flex it without thought from birth. They swell with this knowledge. Kindness is not fake. Love is a muscle like water. It wants what it wants. After a hurricane, first responders don't ask anyone's political party, ask for documentation. They don't even ask your name first, only, can you hear me? Are you all right? We are leveled down to bare bones, humanity on the shore like a strange, day-lit animal. We are all wired from birth to share it, not hoard it. Take love to places it's never been. Get off the block, step across borders. We are sharing this ancient breath under these lights, on this street, on this night. Don't be afraid of taking it in. Scarcity is a fear tactic. This gathering is necessary. This is also indulgence, and it's okay. In the most crowded aisle of the Goodwill, there is a mother of an adult with disabilities, picking out a shirt for him, and he is overjoyed at the dogs on the front. Dogs begin our human conversations, help us when we think we have nothing to say. Traffic stops for the oldest resident in the neighborhood. Soup grows with each item cut and added, often beginning with stones. It's okay to cry in public. There are many who want to reach out to you and help you stand. The kitchen sink attracts plate after plate and upturned tines. Fear is like that, but love could be like that too. My Republican grandparents would not recognize this country. My grandmother kept the kitchen tidy and hugged anyone who she had just met. I have no answers. This is not a theory, really, a hunch, a hope, that this poem is far from being written, that you would help me finish it. I don't know about you, but I'm really happy Christmas and all the holidays are over because then I can be done grocery shopping. I have enough food in my fridge to last till the new year. And then I have to go back. Here's a poem. The Thoughts and Prayers of Trader Joe Shoppers. That tonight will be the quiet, easy Sunday when all cars obey the lights and the moon escorts clouds to the other side of the overpass, under which homeless families are thankful for no rain and heavy church tips. That tonight you reduce the odds and leave the children home, the one fuming that you won't let him get the Nerf gun that handles and loads like a semi-automatic. Because you are the mother, and tonight will be the random night you return with a trunk full of groceries, nothing but a split nail and no sirens in the distance. I'm going to read, so those are all poems that aren't in either of, or any of my books, but I'm going to read one from this book, How Light Reaches Us, and I have the pleasure of saying the cover art was done by Berger West, who's here tonight, and she was, I've never met her before tonight, but we've kind of known each other on Facebook, through email correspondence. And we were both residents at Playa out at Summer Lake, but not at the same time. So when I was ready to have this manuscript published, I was looking for artwork that sort of, anyways, her artwork spoke to me, and I was so honored that she let me use it for the cover. And this was called Thunderstorm. And out on the Playa, all sorts of storms happen, and dervishes and magic. So I'm going to read a poem from this book, but it's actually located in northern Michigan, where I was raised in Michigan. A thin accumulation. 1 year, my lake will have no ice. Snow will not drift, bury cabins, become an animal itself, one that everyone fears, secretly, openly, but also craves, like a lover. We wanted to blanket, lull in days. We wanted to seal the fish in tight, a polar aquarium we auger into, then wait the hours for their phosphorescence to reach us. All those long winter days of sitting inside, tinkering with a fire, peeling orange after orange. Then a bluebird day. Windows let in so much reflected light, we must blink it away by bringing tea steam in close. Birch lives this whiteness, carries it all summer like candles, striking here and there above the bracken. They hold vigil and bend when wind finally whips water into a chevron of whitecaps. The lake grows restless with reflection and persistent lily pads, wants to impart some sort of future story. But the docks will be hauled out, along with the rowboats, by still strong old men. That smokehouses will fume with fish stockpiled and salted, that it will give its surface over like the mirror for a stray comet to blur upon. Next year, we might lay our sunburned shoulders against sheets ravaining with sand and turn to each other again. All this light between skin, the shedding of, and the coming new. Geese blaze the way, showing us all how to bow down low, circle open water, return and return again, crave a deep, cold sleep. So I miss my lake in the winter and in the summer. And I was going to read a little bit from this book, Echolocation, which also has some cover art by another Playa artist who I actually was in residence at the same time. And her name's Sarah Klein, and she's a printmaker. And it's a rich place. There's some Playa alumni here. If any of you are artists, writers, dancers, musicians, scientists, it's a wonderful place for work and silence and community. High desert negative. Don't go back. Don't revise. Don't redream or fill in the shadows with color. Don't rely on breath to tell you you are alive. The world is not your mirror. Don't start now. Don't turn out the lights or hoard the extra blanket. Don't forget how bare skin never forgets. Don't pull away. Don't rely on yourself. Don't find words. Don't settle. Don't wait for a hard frost to carry your foot on the playa. Don't keep out of the wind. Don't walk back to the house until you can see sun on the panes. Don't wait for the moon to set or a pair of cranes to carve morning away with their ambitious wings. So my books have a lot to do with each other about light and hope and love and loss, and I'm pretty sure no poet anywhere has ever, written about those things. So, so I want to read a little bit more of the lighter poems. Anna's Reservoir. Where there's flocking, there's water, clouds of fuss and arrangement. Where there's a dirt road, there's us, windows rolled down, listening. An open weir's rush, a faint lapping, water gathered around heron ankles. The reservoir appears, its alkali and shell-baked rings holding memories of blue, flooding the reeds, so full, so near, so swimmable and sweet. And Anna's Reservoir is down by Summer Lake, the northern end, where there's the wildlife refuge, and then there's a bunch of springs that feed that, and I've never been there to swim in it, but I've heard it's good swimming. The body loved is the body saved. Hand to chin, tilted for lips, velvet cottonwood leaves hold breath, nipples welt at the memory of grazing, legs split to tongue, river widening. A body saved is the body loved. It wants to lean into gravel and watch you move over, into, blot out the stars. When the world is about to end, press closer. Like mineral water gives up its fortune, scald rock, and give up resistance. Dip into the hot black silk. The earth loves us, and the body is saved every time we are pulled under. How am I doing on time? Okay. This is a little prose poem, and it was written after the Eagle Creek fire up on the gorge, which I live in East Portland. I mean, all of Portland we're all covered in smoke that summer, that end of the summer. But I wrote this after driving out there and seeing the immediate aftermath, and then I just went out a few weekends ago and went hiking on one of the reopened trails, Joaquina Trail, and it's actually coming back. It's not as bad as everyone thought, I think. At least what they opened up. I don't know. There's a lot of trail systems that are still pretty closed. So this is the physics of fire. We drove along the edge of the burn line, right down to the Columbia River, 70 miles per hour with the windows rolled up. 1 month and 50% contained. The air tasted like char and the sea. Saw where fire fell upwards and cascaded into wind, jumped the tracks, crossed the river. So much green. Cottonwoods used updraft to their advantage and survived. Blown back by heat, how far they had to bend. Tannin and silver flags of resistance. We knew this road and twists, but not the rock suddenly bare, blocked from falling by cargo containers and metal nets. Imagine our foreheads uncreased, knowing each other without the torque of time's speed and the signs of slide every yellow mile marker. And below, where oil tankers peel through and cigarettes ditch themselves, how small ferns become relieved to be sprung because of the firestorm. Shuttle. You are already gone, a strange peace rising from the spring dark. How many ways have you lifted from me, turned from me like a stranger in a crowd? In the heat of day, pulling out of my center, my pulse shuttles you further in. The tarmac won't release us. Longing is not done with us. The plain shadows, river stretch marks, and mountain ranges nuptial snow. From a ravine, smoke unspools and volcanoes gather speed. Across the aisle, you avoid eye contact. Out my window, Sunset ballasts the row. Once in a great lifetime, glories appear. Only one of us gets to see. Out there, a lake never embraced calls us blueward, home. I'm going to read 3 more poems. Is that okay? I'm going to read the title poem, Echolocation. Let's work this out in the dark. I find you, you find me. A snapshot under a streetlight's warm brim. Small furred mouths taking moth bodies whole. Intimacy is blood in the pitched chambers. Trace and return, the long foretold figure 8 rush. It requires a blind faith. Work and pump and beat. See where the heart strikes the scaffolding of ribs, its shape as clear as a rubied bell, clapper suspended like a bird waiting for its note to fly back. I just recently had a little fun radio interview on KBOO radio in Portland, and it was about influences, and it was a round table with 3 other poets, and it got a little wackadoodle, but one of my influences is Mary Oliver, like many of ours, and I know that when I feel a little unsteady in the world, I'll just read one of her thousands of books, and or just open to a page, and it usually speaks to me. And the other thing that I do is I go for a run, or I go for a hike up on Powell Butte, which is in East Portland. It's one of the places I've been going to for about 21 years, regularly. This is called Mary Oliver Leaves the Back Door Open. Tell me which bird wakes first, the meadowlark's throated plea, or the wren's woodlot concerto, morning dove releasing the seam of sky from earth with her notes of clear forgiveness. Wake to learn how it's done, how to leave yesterday's song alone, clutch and release. The harrier's wings throws enough shadow to find the life it needs, terror of sun, blessing of thermals. True center lives behind the breastbone. There is no song it slices the morning with, soft wake of the hunt, the day yet to live. And then I'm going to close with one that isn't in any book, but I like it. And I think heading into the next year, whatever is ahead of us, we're going to keep needing community and strength. Rally. When injury comes, red blood cells sound and surround. They knit their care without thought or help. We gather too in brick town squares, in temples, with candles and flags and signs and silence, when our fear needs to be outmaneuvered by peace, like swallows above our crowding. There is still plenty to eat this late in the summer. The fire of their wings cauterize doubt. The body is like that. It needs the song of many fingers to pull the stitch along. Thank you.